I haven't always been a Christian. I used to be a New Ager and used to believe in just about anything went really, as long as you didn't hurt other people. And one day I was at university in London and I went round to a friend's house and I found that they were just going out the door and off to church. And I thought, well, they're my friend. It doesn't really hurt to go to church once in a while. Let's go down and see what it's all about. So on the way down I told them, I'm not going to sing and I'm not going to pray, because if there is a God, he doesn't want you to pretend. And if there isn't a God, there's no one to pretend to. So either way, I'm just going to sit there and do nothing. So I sat there and did nothing. It was quite a lively church. It had like a drum kit and young people, and I was thinking, oh, this is a bit different. But when I actually listened to the words, I realised, they're the same words as any other song really. Any other church. The fact that it's new doesn't make much difference. And I was looking around, and I realised that there was some young people there, and I thought, well, that's a bit strange, because I assumed that the only reason you're a Christian is because your mum was a Christian and their mum was a Christian, and all the way back to Adam and Eve, and that's the only reason you go to church. So I looked around and I thought, oh, this is a bit strange, these young people. And what was really odd is when the songs came along, they actually they put their hands in the air and they actually believed it. And I thought, that is really odd, actually believing this, let alone the fact that their parents aren't there. So I thought, this is odd. They really believe that God is there. So I said in my heart, God, if you are there, you show me you're there and I'll do something about it, even if it means becoming like them. So I had no idea how God could talk to you, no idea at all. And so I was staring at this statue of Jesus thinking, go on, wave, I dare you to wave. But strange enough, the statue didn't wave. I had no idea how God could talk to you, so I thought, well, I've heard something about doves. Maybe if a dove appears in the corner of my eye, I might believe that God exists. There wasn't a dove. There was no booming voice, there was no pillar of fire, there was no angelic host. But what did happen is that when everyone else stood up and sang a song which said, Lord, you have my heart and I will search for yours, Jesus, take my life and lead me on, I just stood up and I sang it, and I meant it. And I had what can only be explained as a spiritual experience. I suddenly realised that God was there. It was like suddenly this blindfold had been taken off, and a sudden realisation hit me that there really was a God out there. And I turned to the person I went down to this church with and I said, this is really scary. And they said, yeah, God can be scary. And I thought, wow, this is God, it's real. So I thought, okay, let's do a test. I've been trying to give up smoking for years, and I thought, well, if this is a God of love, then he would want the best for me, and he'd want me to give up smoking. And I've been trying for a long time. I've failed every time. And God showed me so much love that every time I tried to reach for a cigarette, it was like I was saying, who do I love more, God or cigarettes? And I couldn't smoke the cigarette at all. And the turning point came when I suddenly realised that I had to live my life around God rather than my faith fitting around me. And all the other so-called faiths that I'd pretended to follow, all the kind of New Age rubbish, it had just been trying to fit a belief system around what I wanted. Whereas I suddenly realised in Christianity I had to follow what God wanted. I had to follow God rather than God following me. And so I realised I had to give my life over to God. And I went to another church, and they did a call up for the end for people to come and become Christians, and I ran. I was hurdling the pews to get to the front, and I just ran to the front and I said, today God, I dedicate my life to you.